Hi, Dyslexic Genius here. I'm back on the Edison Home lawn case, and now we're going to talk about the gear train and how to clean the gear train. First of all, we need to take this gear off this shaft because we want to make sure there's no rust under here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this screw out. Now what we're going to do is set it down on two pieces of 2x4. You remember I've talked about my little brass rod with a hole in it? Well, we're going to take the little brass rod with a hole in it, and we're going to beat it with a hammer. There we go. Now we have this apart, like this. We need to have this gear off because it sets in here and we have a little rust and we have to clean all this up. So what we're going to do, we're going to chuck it into the drill. We're going to take a little 4/0 steel wool,
Just plain?
plain 4/0 steel wool. And we've cleaned that down. Now we will unchuck, slide it in more. Now, I talk about polishing the bearings out. We're going to take some 320 grit sandpaper. And right in here, we have wear marks. And I just you can see right in here, we have a little bit of wear. We have these circles in the metal. And that has to come out because when this fits into the casting hole, those little wear marks have a burr on them and it's going to bind down on the motor and it won't want to run smoothly. You need to do this to everyone. There we go. Now we don't have any burr marks on this. Got a little grease on there, but we don't have any burr marks. Because this is steel, you're going to have to come back here and do this one. You can see the ridges in here. See this big knot right here at the end? Now you're going to have to gently do this one by hand. You put this in here like this, and you will turn at home. In the shop, I have a lathe. I can chuck this in, not hit this, and nail it real fast. But this is how you do it at home without a lathe. So now what we're going to do is we're going to clean the gear. Now, since these gears are steel, we can use a steel brush on them. It won't hurt them. Okay, I get these things detail brush sets from Harbor Freight. You get a brass one, you get a steel one, and then you get the nylon one. And what we need to do is we need to clean this gear. So we're going to set this upside down on your bench vise. And you're just going to coat this thing with simple green. And turn the gear over. You also could use 4/0 steel wool on this. Now you want to wipe it off. And we're looking clean. And the reason I do this way is, now what we're going to use is this little edge in the bar. We're going to mount it in a vise like that, and you're going to hold it next to the jaw. It won't hurt anything, and you're going to be very lightly holding that, and you're just going to go around. And now you're going to go and this gets all the junk out of your gear train. And while you're doing this, because working on phonographs is a lot of hand work and detail work,
Are you going to do this to all,
you're going to
all
do
the
that.
gears in the
You're-
machine?
Only on the steel ones are you going to use the stainless steel brush.
Okay, so on the brass
Here,
gears,
I'm going to use the brass brush.
so you have to do this to every single gear
You
on
got
the
to do this
machine?
to every single gear, every end here, the pivot part that goes into the casting. That all has to be cleaned. You got to get all the junk up. As you get one tick in there, my sweet angel reads a book while I do this. Then she'll tell me, honey, it's almost 5 o'clock. Isn't it 1 o'clock somewhere in the world? I go, yeah, almost. I got to get gears cleaned. Now you see all the crap that came out of the teeth of the gear. See here? Look at this. This is all the junk that was in the gear train. And now it all has to be cleaned. So now I'll just go over this one. This is the Governor Drive gear. This is the most important one. And this is about the same metal type as this gear. This is very soft brass, and so is this very soft brass. So you're going to do the same thing to the Governor gear, but I'll only do half of it for you, so you don't have to watch a long video. Yeah. And if this bothers you doing it to the brass gear, you can use the little nylon brush in the kit. Now what we're seeing is a problem with the gear. I'll show you here in just a second. Something was rubbing on the gear. This is what we're always looking for in restorations. See these lines right here? that's rub marks. Okay, so now we got to work on this a little more.
How will you get those rub marks out? And
We're
what's
gonna-
all this black on there?
All that black is hardened grease. I talk about the hardened grease on these things. That's looking a lot better. We have a little more work to do. Now what you're going to do is the teeth. You want to be very careful with the gear teeth, these. We'll spray a little of this on. I'll show you. Because if you don't clean this gear, and this won't hurt the teeth at all. So now if you put the machine together, you would have all this crud running on that little gear of the governor. And it'd be going thud, 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 thud. This way we're getting this all clean, make it look really nice. So the two gears mesh together smoothly because these are notoriously loud. And this is what you have to do to the whole gear train. Cleaning it, polishing the end bearings, and that's my tip for the day.